is this one. These type right here, you just plug into your computer, you transfer, you make the gift.
Your father passed on a long time ago, right?
He did in 1972.
Oh.
He was a lot older than my mother.
So your dad came back and
about
met.
10 years older than Mum.
So your dad came back and met your mom. How did he meet her?
I wouldn't think it would have been terribly difficult in rural Ireland.
weren't too many.
He would have been referred to as the returned Yank and would have been quite, I suppose, glamorous compared to the ordinary local yokels. That would be it.
And her mother was always an adventurous type, so she was probably drawn to that.
So he was an attraction.
He was a very handsome man.
And a worldly.
6'2".
He looked a lot like you, Sam.
Yeah.
Oh,
all dark.
well, let's don't hold that against him.
As well, yes. But did not.
Oh, look at this.
Did
There's
not
food
like.
around somewhere.
She's been
Daisy,
very
no.
protective. That's
No.
naughty.
She just wants, if there's a tidbit, she
He
wants
wasn't
it
cut out
first.
to be a farmer, Sam.
Yeah.
You know.
I guess not everybody is.
No, so he
I don't need trouble.
signed, let his brother move into his farm, into the farmhouse.
How big was his farm?
Except the dog was
As farmers go, it would be about 500 or 600 acres.
That's pretty good size.
Good size if it was grass, but it wasn't. It was just, it would be the equivalent to what they refer to of farms up in Snowflake. Donna says that's farming land, but on a way you could say that ours would be.
But you
on
have to
par
have
with
acres
that.
and acres and acres to support.
Like 500 or 600 acres, like you could really farm sheep, mountain sheep.
I understand. So it wasn't like in a valley.
Oh no, but there were.
You know, the best farming land typically is in a valley, where you have the good.
This was bog. A lot of it would be peat.
Oh, so it was like a swamp.
Well, not really like a Florida swamp.
Yeah,
if
not
you're thinking
like,
of that.
yeah, bogland's different.
Heather and gorse and I mean people there, you know, the bog, certain areas of the bog were used to, people were so totally self-sufficient obviously, so they would cut banks of turf and it was saved and it was used entirely for the fuel that people used in their homes.
Well,
to heat their homes
millions
and
of
to
years
cook on
old.
was peat turf.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a good percentage
Come
of
back
that land my father owned
We
was,
actually had some in
was
Germany.
peat, but there was a certain amount of grazing. of
Like peat
course.
moss.
We don't have this
We
any of this
burned it.
Like peat moss.
Like peat
Yeah, that's what
moss,
they do.
of course.
Yeah.
That's where peat moss comes from.
I remember.
We don't have a lot of bog around here.
No, but you
No,
know,
Maine would be.
in Germany we did right after the
Of
war.
course
I
you did,
remember.
that's
I
right.
remember my parents burned it. They went out and they
Yeah,
staked
we
it.
do that
and-
too. Yeah, you burn off the heather and the gorse
Yeah,
to cut back so you get some growth of grass
yeah.
for sheep or goats or whatever. Yeah. But my
They used it to
father's
keep
family,
warm.
and my mother's family had about, at any one time, they would have about 1,000 sheep.
Wow, that's
and
a
they
lot.
would graze right across the mountains because they had their own patch of land, whatever it was, maybe medium to, 300 or 400 acres or less, and then they would have commonage, which everyone could graze. It was like the Tonto National Park here. You could turn your animals out and you put a particular brand on them and they were yours and they were gathered up in the autumn to sell. You gathered your sheep which had a particular brand, like with your initials on them in red or green or whatever colour, and your sheep, mostly flocks, will stay together anyway, and then they would be sold, so their sole source of income would be from sheep and some cattle.
Yeah, well, we had that here in the 19th century, and they called that the open range.
Yes.
And people branded their cattle. The problem was that people would go out and change the brands and steal the cattle. They called that cattle rustling. And they got tired of their cattle getting stolen, so they put up barbed wire fences, and that ended the open range.
Oh no, we still have open range right here.
You know, Sam, it's extraordinary that you should say that because exactly the same thing happened in the west of Ireland. That's where my family come from, about 30 years ago. It was open range. It was virtually thousands and thousands of acres of mountain and bog. And then people have now started putting up fences and protecting their own patch.
Yeah.
You know, it is the whole way of life has changed because of that. You know, people becoming very territorial, and I think people were able to buy out the commonage, parts of the commonage that were near them. You know, they grazed it.
The other problem that we had is that sheep farmers or sheep ranchers and cow ranchers didn't get along real well.
No, there was huge conflict, wasn't there?
Huge conflict. Here in Phoenix, they had a very famous battle. Not here in Phoenix, but here in Arizona, closer to northern Arizona, they had a famous battle between the sheep herders and the ranchers, cow ranchers, and literally dozens and dozens of people were killed.
Well, of course, because cattle are fairly selective about what they eat, whereas sheep just about eat everything.
Yeah,
don't
they're
you know,
Including the roots.
including the roots. That was that has been a problem in Ireland,
If it
even
gets
up to the recent
overgrazed,
past.
yeah.
2 or 3 years ago, in the part of Ireland I'm telling you about, the west of Ireland, the subsidies from the European, you know, the EU, you were subsidised for each sheep you carried as a farmer, you raised per head. There was a headage on every sheep, so that of course it tempted farmers into sort of having flocks of 5 and 6 and 8 and 1,000 sheep, because each of those sheep they were going to get maybe €16 a head for them, so that it became totally overgrazed and the mountain areas were destroyed and eaten back to the result that there was nothing left. The roots, they ate everything, the sheep ate everything.
Yeah, so that's the problem,
Overgrazed,
overgrazing.
overpopulated. And we had a major landslide, which
Horses are
totally
moving that way
enveloped the
too.
village
Yeah, but
because of
look at our
overgrazing.
corrals. You leave them in on the
last
place,
year.
and there's nothing else to eat.
But now
They-
the subsidy has stopped, and it's quite remarkable to
Cows
notice.
can't.
We
Cows
noticed
don't have-
this year in
Right.
Connemara, where we went on our holidays, which is a different county to Mayo from where I come from.
I know,
come-
I was going
Galway
to,
would be south of
I have
Mayo.
some corral fencing.
And
I've bought
they
really
would
old
have
sheep, a
huge
whole stack of
populations of
bunch
sheep
I
as
did.
well. But we noticed there were so few sheep,
And
we couldn't
behind the
believe it.
corral, I was gonna.
The subsidy stopped, they took the sheep away. You know.
Then I could turn.
so where's the closest
and
town that you live next to?
Well, Tulla would be our closest town. It was a market town.
How far away is it?
It's now quite a very prosperous town.
Oh, I thought you was going to say it's
Well,
gotten
yeah,
farther away.
length of
No,
time.
it was 2 miles from us.
Okay.
It was a very small town. You got the necessities of life.
Do you have a Walmart?
No!
You don't have a Walmart?
But wait a minute, we are this year,
I can't imagine they don't have
this
Walmart.
before Christmas, having an enormous
like-
German store, grocery store called Lidl.
Amazed at them all.
A German grocery store?
They have just about
Grocery store.
everything else.
The German, there are 2 brothers who own this
Chili?
giant sort of corporation called Lidl and Aldi, and they each one of the brothers runs the Aldi stores, one of them runs the Lidl stores, and apparently they are all over Germany. But they have I mean, just taken over the Irish grocery market, you know,
Yeah.
because they're affordable, they're good value for money. It's not necessarily that cheap, but it's affordable. Variety. And most exciting things like German cheese and salami and sauerkraut and bratwurst and sausage and all kinds of things.
So where do you go to get, like, do you have malls? Do you have...
We have in Carlow then a mall. By your standards, it's pretty big too. We have Tesco, Supergrain, and a huge number of fashion shops, you know, like clothing stores, like designer wear. You know, it's pretty prosperous. Carlow, within the last year, that is the bigger town, which is about 9 miles from us.
And what's the population of that?
Of Carlow would be now, it is certainly about 10,000 plus.
10,000?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Tullow.
We probably got that here in Apache Junction.
Yes, that's it. It's true.
Okay.
Tullow has a growing population of Polish people.
Uh-huh.
They are settling by the thousand in Tullow,
Yeah.
and fortunately finding employment in the area
Yeah.
of Tullow. Tullow. You wouldn't think that 20 years ago you wouldn't have thought Tullow would support anyone, but because there was a cattle market there and a sheep market there, one large grocery store, maybe 10 pubs. Now we have the Hilton Hotel, Mount Wolsey Golf Course, which is second to none in the golf world. So, you know, people from all over the world come and play golf in Mount Wolsey Hilton. And we have the Ramada, about 3 miles out the road.
Wow, so you're right up there.
So that must mean you have a lot of tourists.
No, we've got a lot of rich Irish people.
Oh.
Very rich Irish people.
And
they drive in their Mercedes.
They go to the hotels for like weekends and weekend getaways.
Golf is the national pastime in Ireland. We do not. Edward, who is not a golfer, I'm not a golfer, we can't understand how all these people, you know, can afford to go golfing, you know, all the time. How can... Oh, it's not just one golf course. The country is turned into golf courses.
Well, you know, there's also a lot of Europeans that will spend a lot of money to golf, like Japanese.
No.
Yes, we do get bossy little thing. We had the Ryder Cup, as you probably know there.
Yeah.
It was a great success for the Europeans.
Right.
No.
The Americans didn't do terribly well, did they?
Hey, review.
Yeah, I read about that. Is Ireland a democracy? What kind of government do you have?
Yeah, we have. It's democracy. Yes.
You vote.
Yes, I vote. I would be.
You have senators. You have Senate.
Pack leader here.
I would vote
representatives.
Green. We are, because we're involved in a business which is eco-friendly business.
And I will put you in your kennel.
Green.
But my father was.
Is that like a Democrat?
As much as I like
Environment, conscience, and blah blah blah.
Yes, supposedly.
What's the other party? So you have a Green Party, and what's the other party? The Red Party? Or I guess the Blue Party? What's the other party?
Well, it's similar. They're on a parallel, the two governments. Really.
Okay.
You know, very little difference.
Yeah.
No.
And we
Bad
have
girl.
the Green Party. I must say, is gaining in votes. We have the Independents. Traditionally, both of our parties, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, would be historically, involved in the up at 1922 when we got our independence from Britain, and some people voted for 26 counties, and some people voted 32 counties.
Although the bulldozer
We didn't get our
my
32
head.
counties because that's where the conflict has been in Northern Ireland. Which has just been resolved this year. The IRA has seen all over the world as being terrorists.
I can't turn it off. It's on the cycle, but I'm going to put the
My father was an old IRA. My father was a soldier in the army, and he fought for independence and was a prisoner of war for 2 years in Wales because of fighting the British.
Stay.
The British imperialists, huh?
1916.
Good girl. No. You stay.
Stay. I'll keep her here.
Good girl.
No, every time you say good girl, she thinks that
I know,
means
but she has
to me for it. But if a kid comes up and wants a hug, I hug him back.
But the educational system is, if it's just money, that's not the problem. That's the whole point. This whole parental society, the way they look at teachers today, and they just, you know, it's not the money.
Yeah, back in my day, boy, I'll tell you, if we misbehaved in school, the teacher would punish us, and then she would let the parents know, and when we got home, we got punished again for how dare we disrespect that teacher. Today, it's the opposite way around. It's like nobody has, I mean, my Johnny didn't do that.
I'm waiting for, when I get back
Just
next
didn't.
week,
He wouldn't do that.
we have parent-teacher conference, and I've flunked about 15 kids in that school.
Yeah, you're going to have fun teacher conferences, I can tell you, my
I
darling.
tell you what, I know
It's a
exactly.
nightmare.
These kids goofed off in my class. They didn't care. I gave them an extra chance. I gave them a report.
And they're going to say, well, last year they were on the honor roll.
Exactly. But they didn't produce.
So do you have children, Mary?
Oh, yeah.
My children all finished college now, so no, we would never have had that sort of problem because.
You have children from your husband,
Oh yes.
not from your boyfriend or.
No, not that I know of.
How long have you been married?
Not that I remember.
Sam,
No.
you're just
Not that you remember.
Sam.
I mean, I think you would remember,
Sam.
Marion. I think you would
Sam,
remember.
Remember, you're recording a backyard conversation. You're not part of 60
Yeah.
Minutes.
Well, I'm
Ask her
looking.
how long she's been married.
I'm looking
It's like
for
asking
some
how old I
am.
Sure, yeah.
some money here from.
She has 3 wonderful children.
Yeah.
And-
They're all now finished. Like they're all in their.
So you've been married for a
20s.
while. How
For
long?
all my children. Do I look so young?
No,
Yes,
you do.
That
Yes, you do.
honesty is it.
Boy, that's
See, I'm a
good.
grandmother and he
That's
doesn't
it.
think anything of it.
Yes.
Is this
I want to be a grandmother.
you've been married before? Your first and only husband?
I have never been married before.
Let me help
Okay, so
And
you're
now we married for life.
okay. Well, that's a neat thing.
Even though we have divorce now, but you know.
That's a pretty neat and unusual too to have
Well,
the first person you married.
that's an off-the-cuff remark, which is a bit ridiculous. But you know, I can't see. Hopefully, my husband won't find a 16-year-old and run away with her. You know, sometimes husbands do when they get bored with
That's
older
called statutory
wives.
rape.
You know,
Yeah, 16-year-old. Yeah, that would be.
17, 18-year-old.
It depends on how rich he is.
We're
Exactly.
pretty
Is he real rich?
good. No,
Then you don't need to worry.
no, that's true, isn't it?
Yes, it
It's
is.
the rich husbands that call the shots. isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's the chippy birds that want the rich
Yeah,
husbands.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, we work very hard as a family and wife in our business. Extremely hard.
Yeah.
They've come a long, long way.
We have.
And you're
Since 1999.
in some kind of environmental.
We are since 1999 we sell a products hydraulic lime and paint, which are ecologically friendly. They're natural materials.
Equivalent to ours.
They
And
were
we
used to
sell
be used a long, long time
people
ago.
who are in conservation and restoration, and who sell it, you know, or we sell it to, you know, hopefully to them, and that's the way we make our living. We
Isn't it the
import and
materials that
sell.
we use?
But my husband Edward, he's
Donna,
a technical. He's the technical backup. He's an engineer by profession, but his technical expertise now would be in hydraulic lime. I've had to put too many drinks. And natural paint, like breathable paint,
Huh.
that you have to put over hydraulic lime. We called, in fact, incidentally, we went down to Scottsdale yesterday.
Now, hydraulic lime. What is that?
It's a lime which sets with water only and sand. You don't need cement to make it set. And it was used, in fact, in, what was the Casa Verde? What was the name of that wonderful Mexican place the guy was telling us yesterday?
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
White Devil the Desert.
Yeah.
Down in Tucson, they used it was the type of exterior stucco coating they used on the
But anyway, I'll come get them.
yeah.
what do they call it? You know that mission, San Xavier.
Okay.
Down in
Any
Tucson.
building here, 100 years over,
Okay.
is built with lime mortar, lime putty. And lime mortar, lime putty is 2,000 years old.
And that's good or bad?
Good.
Good. The
It's
lime is good.
sustainable. Well, the pyramids are still standing, aren't they?
Yeah.
best of my knowledge.
But all the
And,
lines off.
But concrete is bad?
Well, 100 years lifespan for concrete, and it begins to show effects of, wear and tear. But
Yeah.
the combination of concrete and old build, is not a good mixture, because a brick, particularly brick, is a soft material. Concrete is very rigid and very hard. Now you want to build a brick house with concrete, you put concrete in. It is too rigid for the brick because it's a soft material. And then, particularly in Ireland, we have extremes of temperature. We have frost and rain, a lot of rain, and it freezes and the water comes in, it gets trapped in behind the brick and it goes in. And you get a chemical reaction with the concrete, and blows the face off the bricks.
Huh.
There's horrible damage to brick.
Huh.
And then when you put concrete in limestone buildings or granite, it's too rigid, and then it causes incredible dampness
Okay.
because the water gets trapped. Concrete is not a porous, breathable material.
Understand.
Lime is.
Okay.
Hydraulic lime is.
Well, that must make you feel good that you sell a product that's environmentally friendly.
It is nice because originally Edward's business was salvage. We did salvage houses
Okay.
that were going to be demolished. So we would go along and take out fireplaces, floorboards, slates, tiles, anything that was reusable, recyclable.
Yeah.
That was our first business. And then Edward went and took 3 years of courses in a college in England which specialised in teaching people about restoration, conservation, the proper way to do it.
Yeah.
Not just slap on the concrete and hope that everything was going to be fine. Because the buildings in Ireland that were restored with concrete, these were going back Norman keeps and towers and castles. They're now going to have to take all the concrete out because it is bursting buildings apart, damp water's getting in, it's being trapped by the concrete and it can't get out. So it is a good business to be in, yes.
And your children, what did they do?
And my oldest daughter is a final year veterinary student in Budapest.
Budapest.
I know, yeah.
That's
And the reason she went to Budapest is she got a place in a veterinary college there, which is fee paying. Had she stayed at home, she would have had to have a minimum of 5 A's, 5.5 A's, 5 A's and a B to get into veterinary college in Ireland.
okay.
She didn't get that. We didn't want her to repeat her exams because the stress and the whole thing about repeating. Would she get the points the next time?
How old is she?
She's now 24, but she has spent the last 5.5 years in Hungary, in Budapest, and loves it.
Huh.
And is European Veterinary Council accredited, and will be able to work anywhere in Europe as a vet, but not in America. But she has to take her state boards here. So,
Okay.
which will only cost about $5,000, but I'm sure we'll find the money somewhere.
Yeah. And what about your other children?
The other girl, my other daughter, is a solicitor.
So you have 2 daughters.
She's a lawyer, yeah.
A lawyer.
Yeah. She graduated this year. She did 4 years in Trinity,